All right, well, Davy, here's Davy. You said he's right here.
Where's Jason? Here too.
And Corey?
Jay.
Corey, how are you?
Something else going on?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. You told me to meet you.
All right.
Davy, did you tell you when the outstanding
Yeah, well, she's got
project
some
for
stuff.
2012?
Just send
Oh, well, I got a plaque for you.
What are you doing, Ron? How y'all doing?
This is for Bird Hickory project, and we got a couple, I'll borrow some money from you when I get a chance.
Okay.
All right, let me tell you about Davy real quick as an introduction. You want me to introduce you?
Sure.
Well, here's the projects that Davy's done for us. Last year, Davy was diagnosed with stage 4, right? Lung cancer. And so he's fought it with chemo. And the chemo got so severe, he thinks he will just take his chance and see how things play out. And he kind of made a commitment to his God that he wanted to give the group a little talk. And I heard this isn't an original, but somebody said, in this world of give and take, only a few gives what it takes. And you've given more than it takes for us. So, okay, it's all yours, brother.
All right. Yeah, I used to be, I'm gonna put this on because I need it to cover up. You gonna work this for me?
I am.
I've got, you can see the helicopter, I've got a little entertainment plan. Can you pull up the helicopter deal?
It's a program, isn't it? It's a flight simulator.
Right.
You left me without the tools.
I know, but I'm telling her because it's probably somewhere else different on it.
Anyway, during lunch, y'all can play.
Isn't it on the desktop there? It's on the desktop.
The real flight launcher?
Yeah, right, that's it.
Will we actually be flying that helicopter?
Yes, sir. And, when it comes up here, we're already behind schedule.
It's all right. We were behind when you took the floor.
Cool.
I didn't know I was gonna have an assistant. All right. This is the Osprey that our military flies. Anyway, this one, takes off with a helicopter. I wouldn't suggest, flying this one would be your first flight. Anyway, you gotta change this thing in forward flight.
Did you do that on purpose?
Yeah, I was trying to get, can you go, mouse over to the edge of the screen? Okay, hit that one. Hit that Yak 54 up there.
With stores.
Gyro. Okay. This is a plane.
That's cool.
You can,
You're out of gas, babe.
Davy. I got control of it now. Anyway, you can fly a plane.
Nice job.
was a gas, you know, that was electric. You hear it speed up, I went into idle up. That right there means you're ready to do some tricks. Upside down, you know, you can do barrel rolls, and you can do all kinds of stuff if you figure out which way it's pointing. These things, they're a lot of fun, but they're dangerous too, you know. But anyway, 12 months ago I was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. I asked the doctor, of course, you know, how long have I got? He said somebody my age and all, I've got about 14 months, you know, on average. So, you know, it was pretty easy math. Anything I've ever done, I've always tried to be above average. And so this time I hope to be well above average, you know. I'd like to be around a little longer than that. And I just, you know, I had a few things to offer, some background on me, things that life can change, you know. Everything cruises along and then a split second, your life can be drastically altered or even lost. You know, just like that, blink of an eye. And just wanted to give you some background. When I was 7 years old, I found out recently, before the cancer, that I'm a crybaby. I'm worse than Glenn Beck. If anybody's ever seen him, I can cry better than Beck any day. But don't worry about it. Trust me, I'm happy. I'm the happiest I've been in years. I found out I was a crybaby when my boy was asking me some questions about an accident I was involved in when I was 7. We had went to Douglasville to buy groceries. My mom, little sister, my older brother Gary, and me. And when we bought the groceries, heading out of Douglasville, we were meeting a truck. Well, he was coming over the hill, passing over a hill, and you know, he was trying to pass and didn't make it in time. And my mom, that's my mom, she didn't make it. And that's my little sister. They didn't make it. And you go on with your life, you know, but you carry that kind of stuff with you. You kind of just put it in a folder, you know, and move it off your desktop somewhere so you don't worry about it. And then recently that stuff's really strong. But did y'all know back in the old days people were skinny? Poor people were skinny. You know, nowadays all the poor people I see weigh 300 pounds and they talk on cell phones. Why is that? Poor people, back when I was a kid, the reason they were skinny is because they didn't have no food to eat. They didn't have much food to eat. They were considered poor. Now poor people weigh 300 pounds and talk on cell phones. poor people in this country are richer than 85% of the people left on the planet. We moved back to Atlanta after the accident. My dad didn't want to go back to the house we just built. My grandparents were living next door to us. They had their youngest son was named Jerry Garman. But my grandparents moved back to Atlanta with us to help take care of me and my brother. We didn't have, state-funded child care back then, I guess. I guess you just had to do crap on your own back then. But anyway, they moved back to Atlanta to help with me and my brother. And Jerry, he stayed behind. He had already got tied up with his wife, Jerry Fay. And, we lived right off of Cleveland Avenue on Browns Mill Road. I don't know if y'all know where that's at, just south of town. You ride up Cleveland Avenue, you get up to Stewart Avenue, and right across the street, there's Stewart Avenue Drive-In. You take a ride on Stewart Avenue, right down the road, get down just a little ways, Fun Town Amusement Park, roller coasters. You ride farther on down the road, 72-lane bowling alley. It was a different time. It was, I wouldn't recommend going there today for family entertainment, but that's where I live. It was a good time. Jerry Garman, I remember he rode by one night. It was just after Christmas, and he swung by after work, and we were showing him our BB guns we got for Christmas. So Jerry, he starts offering up some, safety tips and all, and about you always got to know, what you're aiming at, and stuff like that. You don't know how Jerry is. And so we step out onto the screened-in porch there, and he opens up the door. He cocks the gun, takes aim, and shot the back window out of his company car that he was driving that night. And so, right then I knew, that I came from a long line of thoroughbreds. I had success written all over me. Anyway, we had stayed there until I finished the 8th grade. We moved back to Hiram. My dad remarried sometime after that. Big mistake. He had the right one. That second one wasn't the right one. But anyway, we moved back up to Hiram, and I went to middle school there through high school. Camping out one night. Has anybody in here ever been on fire? I was camping out with a couple of buddies of mine one night, and we was on, our property. My dad had been building a garage, and it was cold, and we didn't have lanterns and stuff, so we found some kerosene and filled up a can full of kerosene, set it on a scrap piece of plywood, and lit it. And then we got some concrete blocks and just stood them on the end. We just sat around and we'd reach down, warm our hands, and we had light and heat. And it worked really well, until one of my buddies stands up. And when he stood up, his block turned over on the plywood, and it dumped that can of kerosene on my leg. And it's like one of those, Houston, we've got a problem. I'm slapping at it, the guys are slapping at it, and it's getting ugly. We ain't touched it. And I'm just at the point where I'm fixing to go. I'm running. And all of a sudden, just quilts. Just popped into my head. We had a pickup sitting over there that had a bunch of quilts in the back. I ran over there and grabbed the quilt and wrapped it around my leg and snuffed it out. I ended up camping out though in the hospital because I stayed in the hospital quite a while with a tent over my bed, you know, keeping the sheets off of my burns, first, second, third degree burns. I got skin grafts here and here. And things happen, you know. That was a pain, that stuff painful, burns, pretty wild. Does anybody know what a pollinatal cyst is? Pollinatal cyst? When our guys were coming back from World War II, a lot of them had the problem, the cysts that form around your tailbone. And they called it the Jeep disease back then. And they said it was either from ingrown hair or impact to your tailbone, bruising, you know. It was the Jeeps. Them guys flying up in the air and busting their tail on them seats. That's what it was, because I busted my butt on a bicycle one day and hit on that tailbone, and I'm telling you, I laid there for a while. And then later on, that happened. I put up with it for years. And sometimes I'd get home in the evenings and it would be all the way through my pants. You could see where, you know, I'd undress and my underwear would be full of blood and stuff. I mean, it was rough and embarrassing, you know. But finally I went to the doctor for it, ended up in the hospital, and they just cut a big hole out of your tail there, you know, and felt like it was about that deep. And then they just let it heal from the inside out. That's the only way you can get rid of it. Painful stuff. Yeah, that was, you know, I've always been pretty lucky, you know, stuff like that. Did anybody ever go to sleep and wake up and you're laying there in bed and you're awake, but you can't move, speak, do anything? You do that?
I've done it once when I was a kid.
Yeah, I've done that quite a bit. I talked to the doctor about it. She said people have that problem that have narcolepsy. That's the people that just walk around, just fall asleep, you know. Anyway, you wake up and you're paralyzed. And I mean, you can't do anything. I mean, I've laid there before and concentrated on like my little finger. And I'd just sit there and just concentrate as hard as I could. I'd get that little finger moving just a little bit. And then you get it wiggling a little bit more, you know, and then all of a sudden you're back. You ready to go? But that doctor said there's a disconnect between your brain and your body there. They don't know what causes it. She says, don't worry about it. A lot of people have that problem. But trust me, it's scary. Now I try to holler at her. I've had it happen a couple of times lately. I go, like that. And she's supposed to wake me up when I do that, or get me moving. It's a scary situation. I got out of high school, went to work, into this kind of stuff. I'd been framing houses in high school with this old man, and got out and went to join the Carpenter local, and that kind of led to this. I got married at 23 years old and divorced at about 23 years old. Wasn't long. he was 6 months old when I divorced. It didn't go really well. Not long after my first divorce, my dad came down with multiple sclerosis. That's my dad. Jerry Smith, you want some of that? Matt Butt. They didn't have no gold gym back then. That's an old country boy. That's a farm boy. Anyway, Dad, you know, losing his wife and daughter, and he had stomach ulcers. He suffered with his whole life. Back then, you know, nowadays it might have been something that could be cured with antibiotics, but he suffered with it. His second wife, as soon as he came down with multiple sclerosis, she hit the road, so that, you know, death in sickness and in health, I don't get you ever worried about that. But I moved in with him, tried to help him out. Any of you guys in here ever had to change your baby's diaper? You know, we try to get out of it, right? Try to let the old lady take care of stuff like that. That's what I always did. You ever changed your dad's diaper? Yeah, I have. Moved in with him trying to help him out, and that's tough. I had him, I was picking up every other weekend, and had my dad trying to take care of him. Then I've been working every day, of course. Just got to be too much, and we ended up putting him in a nursing home. Me and my brother. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done. My brother will tell you the same thing. But we visited him. We alternated weekends. We visited him. You know, every Sunday, one of us was there until he died in the fetal position at 68 years old. That was a rough time in my life. Either you guys ever been to an NBA game, or you see it on TV where the camera pans the crowd, you know, and then they zero in on somebody, and all of a sudden they just start doing a dance routine, you know? Anybody ever seen that? Well, I don't go to NBA games, so I thought, here's my chance. And so I'm a rocker, so I'm a little different, you know, than some of the stuff you'd see. So here we go. What y'all think? That's pretty good. It took a lot of practice. I just thought I'd never have a chance to show you my moves, so that was it. While all this stuff was going on, trying to take care of my dad and all, I was looking for another woman, and found her. There she is. She's been hanging around with me. And let's do number 10. That was her when she had her Sunday go to meeting clothes on, I guess. I don't know. But you know, you look back, that marriage, my first marriage that I had, it didn't last long, but you know, I picked up a son out of the deal, and go to number 11, and picked up the best daughter, is that 11? Golly. I don't see her.
12.
Hmm?
12.
12? Yeah. She's the best daughter-in-law in the world. And the reason I know this is because on one of their visits to our house, she left me a note in my notes that I was taking for this speech, telling me she was the best daughter-in-law in the world. And since, you know, at this time she's my only daughter-in-law, I guess she is the best daughter-in-law in the world. But that led to 14, 15. Yeah. That's the oldest granddaughter, Madison, and then the next one is, that's Mary Morgan, that's the youngest. You know, a marriage that went bad turned into, you know, things you can't replace, you know. There's no way, I mean, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. But then I found this woman, you know, I have a hard time finding women that put up with me. And I don't know why she has, but she's been side by side with me through this whole chemo deal and all. She's in sickness and in health. Looks like she's gonna ride this thing out. Number 6. That's a picture of all 4 of my boys here. Through her, I picked up the one on my right there is Connor. He's the youngest. 14, and then beside him is Corbin, my middle son. He's 25 now. They're 10 years apart. 14, you know, it's supposed to be 14, 24, and 34. It takes me a while to get stuff together. But, you know, there's been a lot of bad things, a lot of twists and turns in my life, you know, and you just have to roll with it, you know. And, you know, through all this, there's been, you know, some fun times. I've had a lot of fun. The first plane that I ever flew in, I was just out of high school. I turned 18. I think I had to be 18. But I took off in it, and I didn't land in it. So, if that tells you anything. And back before I went to work here, I used to be on the NASCAR circuit. Y'all probably didn't know. I called myself Richard Petty.
Chuck Norris.
I did pretty good at it. I was Richard Petty. Y'all heard I've won a few races.
He
No,
stalled
that
the
right
car
there.
out a few times.
Huh?
He stalled the car out a few times.
That's a lot of fun. If you ever want to have some fun, set it up. I'll do it again. That's good. You know, I did bungee jumping. I, you know, played a lot of softball, golfing. My brother and I used to ski a lot, water skiing. I tried to play golf. Wasn't real average. You know, I had a problem with that. Fished a little bit. I recycled a tree or two in my time. That's where I was building a bed out of a log that was laying over in yard 1, Ben Brown, remember? Yeah, they had cleared for yard 2, and they had taken a piece of a red oak and it was laying over there in yard one. I asked him what was he gonna do with it, and he asked me, did I want it? So, there it is. That was a lot of work, but, went and visited my grave site. Wait a minute, that wasn't supposed to be there. Yeah. You ever done that? Yeah, I went and visited my grave site. Did there, you know, packed a picnic lunch and we sit around. It wasn't a lot of fun, but I had to think about stuff like that, had to take care of it. So me and my wife rode out one day and took a look at it. There's a parts store across the road from it over there for needing car parts, you know. I don't know how far to go. Yeah, that wasn't on the fun list. But nowadays, out of all the things I've done, when I get, you know, you get the whole family together. I get all my kids together, my 3 boys and my granddaughters, and we all spend the day together. You know, that's it. You know, it doesn't get any better than that. And that's what life's all about. That's it. Yeah, those are fun times. Yeah, one reason I'm here is because I told someone that I would be here, or I would do this. And I don't know what I would have done if Jim hadn't agreed to let me do this, because I told my God, Jesus Christ, that if he'd give me time to get my house in order, that I'd come here, talk to you guys, and let you guys know that I'm a Christian. I really always have been. I was saved and baptized at an early age. You know, I never, you know, I didn't kill people and, you know, didn't steal and lie. You know, top 10, you know, I pretty much followed most of them. Tried to be a halfway decent guy. But I didn't do everything, you know, I should have been doing. When you're a Christian, you're supposed to be proud of it. You know, you're supposed to let people know. You're supposed to share it with people. And I didn't, you know, especially in today's world. You know, you're out there on the job site, you know, you don't bring it up. You know, you're afraid, you know, nowadays you get in trouble for talking about stuff like that. Christians, you know, back in the early days of this republic that we live in, people were looked down on if they wasn't Christians. And nowadays, it seems like the Christians are one that's getting beat up, made fun of, Bible thumpers. They're crazy, those crazy Christians. And in some parts of the world, you know, they're being massacred, they're being killed. And we have a president that's supposed to be one of us. Not a peep. Not a peep out of it about all these Christians being murdered for being Christian. I don't understand that. Looks like you'd want to say something about it, but whatever. This meeting was, you know, I was supposed to do this back in November, and it's been pushed back a couple of times. I think they were trying to push it back far enough so I wouldn't be here. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. But any of you guys got any questions about God and whether he exists? Let me give you a few things, some proof. that accident that we had, I talked to my grandmother, Granny Garman, back after I was married. Well, she didn't make the cut. When I, was married the first time, I believe, on one of my visits to my grandmother's house, I was asking her questions about her accident. And she told me that my mom had talked to her, a couple of weeks or so before the accident, and was telling her that she didn't feel right. She just felt like something was going to happen to her. And she said that she told my grandmother that if something happened to her, that she would like to be able to take Teresa, my little sister, with her. She said that me and my brother, Gary, were old enough that my dad could take care of us, but she was concerned about my little sister. So shortly after that accident happened, both of them left and me and my brother stayed. Where did that come from? Crawl up out of a swamp one day, millions of years ago? I don't think so. Picture number 8. Yeah. That's pretty right there, ain't it? Everybody agree?
Agreed.
I thought that was a good picture of me. If there was